It's a very different journey. The passenger requirements now, even compared to where they were 2 weeks ago. So what we understand now is that there are inbound testing requirements, or what we're calling arrival requirements for testing. So the way that works is for anyone who's arriving from Mexico or other countries outside the United States, they'll have to get a PCR test upon arrival, and then they'll have to quarantine until that negative test result comes back.
Now, I understand that on top of that, they will have had to also have an antigen test prior to even leaving their destination. Am I right?
If you're coming home from Mexico, you do need a PCR test 72 hours before you leave Mexico. And then you'll be tested again when you land in Canada. And you'll have to quarantine until that negative test result comes back.
So 1 to 3 days waiting for the results of that test that you've taken upon arrival.
That's correct. At this time, people need to plan that there'll be between 1 to 3 days of quarantining at home until the negative test result comes back.
So if they're squeezing a holiday in a 2-week slot, something they have to take into account.
If they're traveling outside of the United States, if you're traveling to the United States, it's random on the inbound test. So people landing after they've gone to either Phoenix or Las Vegas or wherever they are, that test requirement will be random. So they may or may not be required to take the PCR test when they land.
You know, when you run through it, though, I mean, it's a series of steps, but it's not insurmountable. I mean, you can work this into you don't need to cancel your holiday.
I agree with you. I think it's really about the planning part of it. You have to have the ArriveCAN app, and you can do all your planning through the ArriveCAN app, including your quarantine, where you're going to quarantine, having all your documents ready. So again, if you are able to quarantine, if you have the time to be able to do it when you get home, then there are a fair amount of people traveling. But we are seeing some cancellations because people simply can't afford that extra time when they get home.
Appreciate it. Thanks very much.
It's a pleasure.